Hi folks, a bit of Fabriano here. This is the £130 studio, but sorry about the focusing at the moment, it's just trying to sort itself out. It's getting a bit of a pain, this camera. I'm not sure how to set the automatic focus, well, not the automatic focus, but the manual focus. Okay, let's clean that. The dirt's off the board, getting onto the paper. Right, got a nice sky going. This paper is not as easy to use as the artist quality. These are well sized, and the water stays on the top on the surface much longer. That's why you don't get that diffuse effect straight away that you do with this Saunders Waterford cold press that I have been using. Oh, let's have a bit of blue in there. In focus is okay now. It's all set itself. So it's all on automatic. It's a camcorder, Canon Legria. It's a nice camera to use. Get a bit of light red in there. Okay, I've got the board at about 30 degrees. But the one good thing about this paper is, well, two things. It's much cheaper than artist quality, and it scrapes out very well. Oh, sorry. Ooh. Headphones. Right, I'm just going to flatten the page. Okay, that's fairly flat now. I'm just waiting for that shine to go off the paper. Well, I think I'll give it the old hairdryer. So take your headphones off, folks. Ready, go. Okay, that's settled down quite well actually. You can leave it to air dry, but I'd rather hair dry so I can carry on. But is it the critical time is when the shine starts to go off of the paper. If you attack it then, you'll get all the horrible cauliflowers. So you either paint wet, as I do for a start, dry it, let it dry, and then you can go back and do the landscape. Oh, I've got a cup of tea. I keep forgetting to drink my tea. Okay, I've got this medium hake now. For those of you that are new to my channel, I use the hakes, 2 of them. I've got loads of these sizes. Look, I mean, I've got more than this. I've got the large. That's the large one. They're 45mm, and eventually they start losing their hairs, a bit like me really. This is the inch hake, or hake, to use its correct term or pronunciation. So, and Ron Ranson, who died several years ago, very old, but revolutionised watercolour painting by using these brushes. They do marvellous things, but they do take a bit of getting used to. You never know quite how much water's in the brush. They look clumsy, but with the practice you can do almost anything with them. You can use the edge to do horizons, just touch it on your palette, straighten it up. Beautiful knife edge. You can do your trunks of your trees, you can do dry brush, but it's all about the control of the water and a light touch, a very light touch. Don't go hammering away at it unless you intend to, but all the trees, all the foliage is all light. Right, now we want to do a background. I did one yesterday which I called Pasture. It was a memory of looking from the coast road at Dymchurch, I think on the top of a bus, and looking out over the saltmarsh, all the low-lying area behind the raised coast defence, and it's absolutely beautiful. We can see it all over the UK. You can see it around Folkestone, going towards Hythe or going towards Dymchurch. It's just lovely. Down at Chichester, looking back over the lovely salt marshes, but looking towards the hills, I suppose I don't know what you call it, the South Downs. But they're very beautiful. They're farmed, but they're very prone to weather changes. So put the hake there. Let's find the wet one, and we'll use a bit of background. So we'll have, want it to look slightly cool. So blue with a bit of yellow. We can do that and put that underneath. Oh, just let that run down. So while the paper's dry, you can drag over it and it won't move what's underneath, but you've got to be very gentle with that. Okay, let's drop in some heavier colour on the background. So a bit of Payne's grey, a bit of ultramarine, bit of yellow. So there's a sort of a tree line. I hope I don't make this too much like the one I did yesterday. I'm not copying, I just from working from memory. It's drying now a little bit. It's a beautiful day in London. It's very cold. It's 2 degrees centigrade when I came down, made myself a cup of tea before I'll take one up, which we have in bed. Now, try to get your horizons horizontal. You can draw them with a ruler, but don't score the paper. And then we can go and let's have a bit of burnt sienna in there. Now, I'll clean the brush. And a bit of yellow. Put in a bit of yellow here and there, or yellow brown. Just give a bit of warmth coming forward. Okay, I'll let that dry. Well, I dry a bit. I might put some scrape out a little bit. Okay, now we want to put some texture. I hesitate in calling it detail because that tends to commit you to copying something that is real and not made up. In other words, you take a photograph of a tree, your brain will try to put everything in on the paper, and it's what you leave out is just as important. Well, I think we might be able to attack that now with a card. Just a bit of old plastic card. That was my membership card to the campaign for real ale. Well, that battle was won a long time ago. It's still a bit wet. Oh, no, that was a bit wrong. It wasn't dry. Well, not dry. You don't want it dry. You want it just as the paint is drying into the paper, but wet enough to be able to lift out. Okay, well, let's do some pasture. Get a bit of yellow. We can add to this. We can vary the colours to avoid monotony. I can, if I use a bit of Payne's grey with a bit of that colour, I can get some stronger stuff in the foreground, give an impression of grasses. And then I can, when it's dry, I can lift out a bit of the colour to try to create a pond or something. It's just a point of interest. So a bit of red. Okay, let's get a bit of hard green now. Okay, we can. I'm going to go back over that background now. I think we just put it. You don't need to stretch your paper, and this particular paper is pretty stiff. It makes a great support for oil painting, but I think just in case the wood pulp in it, this is mostly wood pulp with 30% of rag content. It's a good paper for practice on, as it is. That's what it is, practice paper. But you can get some lovely effects with it. All right, let's go and get a bit of that blue. You need a cloth by the side of you to take off the surplus water out of the brush. Just using the corner of the brush just to give an impression of trees. I could go over that a bit later with some tube consistency yellow. Okay, see what happens. You're painting a tree without painting it. You're scraping out. And you can do that all over, but there's always a danger that you'll overdo it. I do. All right, that's a bit bumpy now. Let's see if I can put it tight. I want to do some in the foreground now, while that background dries a bit. Okay. I need to put some bushes in there now. So I'll give that a dry. So headphones off, or mute your sound. So far we've got 4 planes here. We've got the sky, we've got the distant hills just showing there, we've got the nearer distant hills, then we've got the middle distance, then we've got the foreground. As old Frank Clark says, have some more fun. Horizon, sky, middle and foreground. Have some more fun. Right, okay, so let's mix up a nice dark green with Payne's grey and lovely Payne's grey and cadmium yellow pale clumps. I'm listening to the radio, the talk radio. Julia Hartley Brewer, and she just said she's drinking more this year than she did last year. Well, I think I'm guilty of that. Look, it's rough ground. I'm not going to paint cows, but there are cows on this sort of meadow type of salt marsh. Look, just gently touching, leaving a lot of sparkle, just to give some sort of impression that the land is not completely flat. It's not Payne's grey, it's not black, it's a very dark green. Put another one down there. You do need a bit of water on your brush, otherwise it won't flow. I'm going in here quite hard here, but it's very bumpy, grassy green. Okay, let's get some dark in there. Right, while that's drying, we'll go in with some nice tube green. Look at that. Can you see that? That paint is as loose as anything. Whoops. We can add some summer greens. If it's thick enough, it will stick. It won't soak into the background. It's just cadmium yellow pale. Oh, an accident pearly way, that's near me. Well, I'll only be going out my bike later on. Okay, so that'll do for that. I'll put some trees in. There will be trees, but the trees will be further back really. They won't be in the foreground. The middle of the middle distance. So we go. Drink your tea. Nice cup of tea. I've lost count of the number of cups of tea that have gone cold. Now I want to find a bit of that background which hasn't got any big trees in, like here, up here. But whatever you do, don't put your main point of interest right in the middle of the painting, because people will go straight, or viewers will go straight to it and will ignore what's either side of it. The idea is to enter into a picture and walk around it. So third up, third in. And then any secondary ones can go nearer the middle, but the main focal points, third in, third up. I think they call that the golden section. But I only loosely pay homage to it. I don't. Well, I do it sort of naturally now. Right. Don't want to do these too elaborately because we're going to put some leaves and stuff over this. Okay, let's just take these up a little bit higher into the above the parapet there. Remember that trees get thicker as you go down to the stem, down to the bowl. Okay, that'll do. Just using that dark green. I'm going to have something coming out of here. Alright, okay, that'll... You could always resort to a bit of gouache, white gouache, to repair a mistake or whatever. Right, I think a fence is always a good thing to have. You link the sides together. It's hard to show, isn't it? Okay, let's... Right, okay, now we're going to put a bit of texture on there now on these leaves. So we don't want yellow, we want sort of summery green. So let's use a bit of ultramarine, traditional green. Make it a bit darker. A bit of shadow. Put it on the shadow side. Okay. Now, I said I'd try and put a pond in. Clean your brush, dry it, a bit. I will we can put a little bit of blue in there. Okay. Right, I'll give that a brilliant amount. I don't think it's as good as the one I did yesterday. It's very similar, but not the same. Okay, try to avoid fiddling about, or over fiddling. Anything you want to know that I haven't covered, or you just want some clarification, leave comments on Facebook on my. I've got a Dave Usher artist page. I don't allow anybody to post their stuff on it. You can do it on my homepage if I have a look at it. But you can leave messages there. You can send them messages on Messenger, or you can leave messages on YouTube. But I'm there to answer questions. So there we are. So we've got the two trees keeping your eye in the middle into here. Let's just take you up a bit, then we can see the whole picture of the mount. So there we are, just another little exercise in painting flat salt marsh. Probably I've got a bit heavy there, but it's quite rough. You've got a lot of gorse and bushy, scrubby stuff around. Anyway, we'll let that go. Thanks for watching, folks. See you soon. Bye bye.